very well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be quiet, please, so we start? I want to welcome you to Wareham Zoning Board of Appeals. Oh, Jake is here. And for tonight's meeting, November 9, 2022, it is 6:30 PM, and we are at the room 320 at the Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. I'm going to call the meeting to order. My far right, our associate member, Mr. Troy Larson, our regular member, Veronica Devenese, our clerk, Mr. Jim Akabachi, my far left, Mr. Richard Semple, Mr. Jake Morrison, and myself, the chair, Nazi Al-Khalasi. We're going to do some quick business before we start on the meetings.
Okay, the meeting minutes, I and other members of the board have reviewed them by email. I motion we approve them as presented.
I second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, second by Rich. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain. It carries. We're going to move to 30-22 Penrose, Littleton Drive.
Okay, here on Middleton Drive, all we're doing is we're kicking out the old subdivision and approving the new one, and they need the bylaw signed. So,
I think that's a planning board thing.
it was-
Mr. Chairman?
They decided that it was the zoning board because the whole thing came in front of us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
What do you need?
Hi, Ken.
Go
Go
ahead.
how
ahead.
you doing? This is a 40B. It's a comprehensive permit, so the zoning board of appeals takes charge of all permitting. So when it comes through the planning board, that subdivision has to be done by the board of appeals.
All right. That's fine. Okay.
Do you need them all signed?
No, just the one that has the ZBA on it.
We need a pen for Myla, especially. Oh, good, you
Just
ready?
happen to have one.
know the pen, if you don't want to mark it.
No.
I have a pen.
It's a Sharpie.
Okay. All right, what's the wishes of the board?
Approve as presented.
So approve to sign the Myla. I have a motion. Say again the motion to
I make a motion to approve.
dismiss the subdivision
Dismiss this previous subdivision and accept the new,
and endorse the new subdivision
yes,
for 4 Littleton Drive,
yes.
for Penrose Company.
And I don't know which one.
Littleton Village Development. Okay. All right, do I have a second on that?
I'm a little confused. Can you repeat that again?
Do you remember Littleton Drive over there off, you go down Swift Beach Road, you take a right, there was a subdivision that never got built?
That 40B the town did.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it, but I'm just,
So what we're
Bunch
doing,
of lots. It used to be like 20, 30 lots, but they want to dismantle the lots and make them one big lot. It's just a formality. That's it.
okay.
Now, Ken, it says planning board here. It should say zoning board of appeals.
see if this one says,
The 2 Mylars there. One says planning board and one
Sign the
says zoning
planning
board of
board
appeals.
because we're not,
do we all sign it or just Naz?
no.
You can all sign it.
Okay.
So we need a motion first before we start signing. So Jim's motion, do I have a second on that?
I move to approve. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain. Can you, everyone, please, because these are large plans and we don't want to bend them, if you guys come around and sign it and we put them away, because I guess the registry won't take them if they bent.
Thank you, sir.
Watch, they're going to be like, we needed it in ink. It's in marker.
Do I need to sign that or do I not?
And no, nobody can have the pen afterwards. Oh, this isn't that kind
Is
of
it
a...
mandatory that we use the marker, or can I use a pen?
No, you gotta use
No,
that.
you have to use the marker.
It has to be permanent ink.
Ink isn't permanent.
Permanent ink?
Permanent ink,
That's
yes.
not ink.
What is it?
Do I need to sign that
No,
or no?
that's good. One,
Crayon, but it's-
what do you sign on that
That's
matter?
ink.
I don't remember that.
No, you went. That was a while ago. You
I
went.
do believe it was before him.
Okay.
Okay, let's roll it up.
4-5.
Let's roll it up, put it inside for them.
It's done. We can do some business, other business.
Okay, we're gonna go continue public hearing, 26-22, Dos Amigos. Is that did they ask for continuance in that?
Which one is this?
Attorney Morton? Jillian Morton? All right, why don't we table this to the end to see what's up with that? Second one, 30 dash,
What street is it for?
12 Large Street.
This is the one that
This is the one that we were talking about?
that was gone by the wayside last week.
Dos Amigos.
Yep,
Okay.
this is the one we were talking about at the end of the meeting of last meeting.
So we'll just wait and see if she shows up, and
Yeah.
if not, we'll hold it against her.
All right, and then we're gonna go 30-22, the Family Pantry, Damien Place Corp., 242 Marion Road. Bill, you up? All right.
Do you have new plans? Do we need to bring out our old ones?
No, I provide, there's actually,
Okay.
there's 6 copies here. I bundled them all together. Nazi, I think, already has a copy of it. Thank you.
Somebody ended up with my pen, but that's all right. I get another one.
I was gonna say, quite a few.
All right, public hearing's still open. Let's see where we are. Wanna start, Mr. Madden?
Okay, I'm Bill Madden from GAF here on behalf of Damien's Food Pantry. I think we've only had the initial public hearing on this, and, you know, we continued it for a series of meetings, and I think tonight's the second meeting. At the previous meeting, we had some discussions about the plans. There was a request for some architectural plans, a stamp on the landscape plan. Wanted to talk about potential expansion of operations. There was a comment about lighting. We also had an issue at the time with implementation of the 53G account and funding of that, so I think that put off a meeting for a period of time. And we were also requested to obtain the letter, the denial letter from the building department. We went through a couple of reviews with Charlie Rowley. He conducted the peer review. We replied to his first letter, and he provided a subsequent letter on November 8th that we just replied to today, and I think Charlie may have had an opportunity to look at that, but we can address those issues as we proceed with the hearing. But I guess the first thing is that some of the revisions on the plan, they're relatively minor in nature, but they did clarify a couple of questions that were asked. The title sheet in this, the title sheet did not require any revisions. So there's a note up there in the revision box that just says no revisions this sheet, so that was not required there. And I think we're all familiar with the site. Do I need to, pardon me?
The mic.
Your microphone, we don't have cordless mics for you.
All right, I'll sit. Move this guy closer.
That's all.
Is that all right?
I can see it.
Okay.
Nobody else needs to.
Second sheet was general notes, legend, things of that nature. There were no changes to this plan from the original submission. The third sheet was basically our site overview plan. There was a comment raised about the limit of work line, the way we had shown it originally. Personally, I don't like jamming a lot of lines together, and so we showed it offset and made a note on the plan that was shown out of function for clarity's sake. But to just provide even more clarity to it, we just added that work limit line to the actual tree line that's shown on the plan. Typically, we are the company that will do the construction stakeout, the land clearing staking, things of that nature for any of our clients. So we have an AutoCAD file that tells us where those points are. So this line doesn't mean that much to me on the drawing because we have the data in a field data collector that we can bring out into the field. But for those that are reviewing the plan, clarity is always important. So We now have shown exactly where the limited clearing line is, nice heavy dark line. So that limited clearing line is what was shown on the plan and the other plans within the plan set. And that is shown on the, just the site overview plan. The existing conditions plan, there were no changes on this sheet, but that just indicates what we have on the site currently, as far as the topography and the description that it's a wooded, undeveloped tract of land. The layout and utilities plan, there was no change to the layout and utilities plan. So the plan that was submitted initially is the same plan. The grading plan, there were a couple of changes on the grading plan that did not affect the layout plan. We revised some grading here along this driveway to just indicate that the way the paving is going to be conducted will direct the stormwater to this sediment forebay. So we modified this 18 contour, 19 contour, and put a series of spot grades that indicate the direction of flow to that point. What else did we do? We changed some of the grading at the rear employee parking area. We originally had it set up so there was a couple of steps that one would need to make to get up onto the sidewalk, but now we've just sloped it from the back side of the sidewalk out in a similar manner that we did the loading dock. This loading area is about 2 feet lower than the floor slab. There's a small, short retaining wall that's proposed between the parking area and that loading dock. There was a comment that was raised, there was a note on the plan that said to provide handrails as required by the building code. I think we might have taken that note off, maybe we left it on, but in any event, we indicated on that plan that there is a pipe handrail there, and that'll prevent anybody from stepping off that pavement into that loading dock. And that was also a comment that was put forth on Charlie's review.
I saw it, yeah.
So that has been revised as well. I don't think there was a change on the erosion control plan other than the limit of work. And as you might recall, we had our construction entrance on Swiss Beach Road. So the construction entrance is required to track any material that's on the wheels of construction vehicles. It'll be left on this tracking pad, and any excess material that finds its way on the Swiss Beach Road, we're required to clean that and what have it. It's part of the, I think, the erosion sedimentation control plan for the project. The site landscaping plan was revised in that we added the limit of work, and I don't think that the last time we were here, we had it stamped by our landscape architect. So the landscape architect, has gone through it, reviewed the plan, stamped it, and offered any other changes to it. So that is a change that was made since the last time we were here.
Bill, I'm going by memory. Are they gonna put those Victory Gardens in right from the get-go, or is that just planned for the future? Bad terminal.
We don't have an immediate plan to
Okay.
put them in. I think that what we just thought it would be a nice amenity to add to the site.
So it's
for
gonna be
those that are-
planned so that it can happen, but it's not part of the original. They'll open up without those existing.
Right, I think what'll happen is that the manager of the facility will probably take a little bit of a survey from the patrons that come to the facility and those that are interested. If there's enough interest in community gardens,
Then
we'll go to the expense of doing it, but we did want to designate an area for that. We're proposing to clear that area right now, but, only because of the economy of clearing the land, all of it at one time makes some sense, but.
So it'll be cut and stumped, but it'll just be graded and,
We call for it to be cut, stumped, graded, and loamed and seeded, temporary loam and seed on that area.
Thank you.
These other sheets are are all the details of construction, and don't really, well, they're interesting if you're building it, but, you know, they're the routine, standard details of construction that we have here. You know, we talk about the paved waterways that cross sections through the drainage basin, splash pads for stone, how we're gonna be dealing with our roof runoff. And our roof runoff, we do show roof runoff being directed through a roof drain conductor pipe and going into the stormwater basin here from the overhang where the porch is. At the rear of the building where we don't have customer access, we're letting that water discharge at grade. It'll flow across the parking lot and into the appropriate drainage basin. So we're only looking at where we're having a gable end on a gable in a ridge down this building. We'll only have downspouts on the front and the rear. Handicap accessibility, it's another one of our sheets. More of the same, and what we did add, and I thought we might have shown it previously, but this is the truck turning for fire truck turning movements on the site, using the Wareham tower truck. Let's see, we revised this plan to indicate the Wareham tower truck that they have recently purchased. It's very similar in nature to the ladder truck that we originally circulated through the site. Dimensions changed a little bit. The turning movements are pretty much, I'll call them identical for the lack of a better word. They're pretty damn close to each other. But anyway, that plan illustrates how how that apparatus can move through the site. And these other plans, I thought they were included. I put them together with your half-size set of the revised plans, only because I wasn't certain if we had presented them to the board previously.
We'd seen them, but thank you.
Okay, well, the floor plan is, I think if we look at the floor plan, you can see that it's a pretty large space for what we're using, and, you know, during the review, there was some comment about what we would do with expanded operation and what have you, how that would be handled. Expanded operation, according to what we wrote in our initial permit application, we're talking about 3 additional hours a week for patron service customers to come to the facility, and that's a total of 9 hours in a week. You know, we see it functioning very similar to a grocery store, but if you look at this, there are 2 loading doors, dock levelers, 24 inches above the grade, provides access for a pickup truck or WB-53 and everything in between. So that's what we chose to do there, but you can see that there's quite a bit of area in the portion of the floor plan called the warehouse where they're able to put palletized goods there, produce, whatever might be needed for the day. And those 2 little 8.5 by 11s indicate how we envision the building to look from the street. So somewhat of a salt block look with a covered porch in the front of it, and the back being pretty much open with a couple of high windows. And you'll note that that we are showing some solar panels on the roof. I think that's part of the program, is to include some solar on the roof of the building. Cool. So those are the revised plans. If you'd like, I can move through Charlie's review comments if...
No, not yet.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm happy to answer any questions then you may have on the plans.
All right, very well. We start by Troy. Troy, what do you think?
I like the looks of everything. I think it looks like a good plan.
Veronica?
No comments.
Jim?
I'm good. I've read Charlie's responses. I think we're in good shape.
We'll get to that. Okay, Rich?
I agree with Jim. We covered the bases, I believe.
Jake?
No comment.
Anyone in the public want to comment on this, for yes or no? Move to Mr. Rowley. Are you satisfied with these answers?
Yeah, I think that we're good to go. The plans have been changed at the last minute, but that's fine. There were minor changes that they made in the plan. The only comment that's left, and it was a part of the original application, and I had commented once, and then Bill's office had commented back with respect to the sewer line and the sewer connection. Apparently, they don't actually have a commitment right now to make that connection. They're on the list. So my only comment to that was that if they are forced to go with an on-site septic system, if something should happen and there's the waiting list is too long, they want to get in and get the ground started, that they come back and verify what the site plan looks like, that there aren't any major changes if they have to put the septic system in. The system would go where that raised garden would go. Now, the question remains whether or not there would be any grade changes to that building as a result of the septic system, because groundwater in that area is a little bit high. And so that means that the on-site sewage system would have to be 5 feet above the groundwater. It might make a change in some of the plumbing that's under the floor. I can't tell right now until you see something. So my only comment was, go with the plan that they have with the expectation of tying into the sewer, but if they do need to change it to the septic system, that they at least come back and show you the plan that there aren't any significant changes to it.
Well, I believe just past town meeting, they approved substantial amount of money to expand the sewer treatment plant, so I don't think it'll be a problem. If it is, I guess they're gonna have to come back.
And I do believe he did bring up the fact that there was no plans of putting any Title V in there. The project wasn't going to go that way.
That's correct. That's what we have concluded. The cost of putting in Title V and what have you with sewer, 100 feet away, makes absolutely zero sense. I was the person who went to the sewer commission meeting. I was the one who presented our request for the sewer tie-in. I explained to the commissioners what our flow rate was estimated to be for this building. It's kind of benign. It's no more than, like, really a 4-bedroom house, a little bit bigger than a 4-bedroom house, but nevertheless, they have their rules and what have you, and we were told that it is on their pending list. And I was told as recently as yesterday that there may be some gallons freed up at tonight's meeting, but I'm not going to pass judgment on that. I think that we would tend to proceed with the expectation that we will get that sewer connection at the appropriate time.
Would you, I know you're speaking on behalf of a client, but would you see any problem with, if we were approved, subject to a tie-in to town sewerage?
I don't see that as a problem, if we
Just
need it. Yeah,
Make
right.
it satisfies everybody, and there's no fears, and then if
Correct.
that subject to isn't satisfied, you gotta come back.
Right.
And that satisfies town engineer's concern, and, okay, thank you.
No, there's no problem with that.
All right. Any more closing argument you like, Mr. Madden?
I don't want to argue.
I mean,
I'd like to make a motion to
closing comments, argument, whatever you want.
No, I think with respect to the plans, I think you folks were asking me the questions, so I'm good with those, the questions that were presented, and I'm hopeful that the answers were satisfactory and ready to move along to the next topic.
All right. Anyone would like to add anything before we move to close? None? Okay.
I'd like to make that motion. I move to close the public portion of this hearing.
Do I have a second on that?
I second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstains, closed. Now what's the wishes?
So, because I'm quick to talk,
Go
I
ahead.
make a motion that we move to accept the plans as presented and dated
They're revised.
Revised.
through,
Revised.
I believe,
11/8/22.
Thank you. Subject to standard conditions and a tie-in to municipal sewage.
All right, any discussion on this and any more conditions? I would like to add a condition that this will be solely used for food. Like, if you have to add it, say, like Salvation Army clothes and stuff, you will have to come back, or the applicant can have to come back. or any other services, personal service, anything. So would this be solely for food?
That's correct, and I think I omitted to, you made the request also at the original meeting that we get the denial letter from the building commissioner, which I have, and I provided to you with your package, and he's calling it commercial use, a service establishment not involving manufacture on the premises. No problem on our end with the condition that you're suggesting.
Well, we're not saying manufacturing, we're saying
Understood.
it doesn't turn like Salvation Army as well, so it's strictly for food.
Right. I mean, I think our initial application was that we thought it closely represented a neighborhood grocery store. Apparently, Mr. Turner didn't read it the same way that I read it, and regardless, we agree with what you have to offer.
All right,
There's no-
so
It's
very
a
well.
food pantry, not a linen closet.
Right.
There you go. Or a
Okay,
consignment shop.
so we have these two conditions. Any other conditions you guys like to impose? Okay, that being said, do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Second by Jake, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, it carries, 500. Thank you, Mr. Mann.
Thanks very much for your time.
Nice job, and I think it's gonna be a good thing to have in the town. I'm
All right,
happy to see it.
The applicant feels the same way as do
I
I.
haven't heard any negative comments in the community at all.
Okay,
Well, thanks very much for your time, much appreciated.
okay, very good. Is Josh D. Olim here?
We skipped you, we're gonna officially
And-
continue, you go, wait.
Yeah, I know, but let me get one thing at a time.
Okay.
Is 29-22 for Josh D. Olim here? Or anybody here for them?
It's all been handled, you know.
So for-
Sonia's
okay.
been in communication with the applicant and
Right.
their attorney.
I
All
just
she's
want to make sure no abutters here.
looking for us to do is do it officially.
Okay, so we'll leave this at the end, and I guess the next one, 35-22, that's for me. Jim, you want to do this?
Yeah, we have a letter in the file, and I have a copy in front of me requesting a continuance on this, and because of the questions that were raised originally, the engineers have gone back to the drawing board. They're gonna bring us a completely revised plan, thus the reason for the request for a continuance. So, unless anybody objects, I'd entertain a motion to continue.
I'll second.
I need a motion first.
Oh, sorry.
You can make the
I'll
motion.
make the
So
motion to
moved, yes.
continue,
So moved by
yes. So
Sonia.
moved.
Do I have a second?
Sonia, she's in here.
I'm
now?
sorry, by Veronica. Veronica, Sonia, brunette, you know.
Okay,
Sorry, I was just looking at the Deolum
I didn't
thing.
even catch that, so.
So you're making the motion, Veronica. And Richard was the second to talk. Did you say I
I
seconded
said
it?
second.
Oh, Jacob. Moved by Veronica, seconded by Jacob. All in favor, say aye.
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 And we're
Abstain.
extending to what, Jay?
Jim, I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining? Okay. So it's 401, but we needed a date.
It's a request for December 28th.
Okay, sorry, thank you, good. You don't even have your glasses.
I don't, but I saw that.
That's all
All
right.
right.
We're on to the next.
Okay, the next
Recognizing-
one, 36-22,
We need to-
William and Kathleen Provost.
Well, they're assembling. The zoning board of appeals to hold a public hearing on November 9, 2022 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 36-22 for a special permit and/or variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 628, Article 13, Section 1352, under the Wareham zoning bylaws, to William L. and Kathleen A. Provost of 36K Marine Drive, Attleboro, Mass., proposing to construct a covered front porch and an enclosed three-season room off the rear of an existing property located at 18 Beach Street, Wareham, Mass. That appears on the Assessors Map 50D, Lot 55, in the MR30 zoning district.
Okay, Very well. Name and address for the record.
I'm Bill Provo, William Provost, 36 Cameron Drive and 18 Beach Street.
Okay, ma'am?
Kathleen Provost,
Okay.
36 K Marie Drive, Attleboro.
All right, just
Got a couple more coming, here we go.
tell us what are you guys doing? Want to explain what are you guys doing?
What do we,
Yeah, what's your plan?
basically to put a screen porch on the front of the house and put a three-season porch on the back of the house, just to enlarge the house a little bit, so when we have our grandchildren over, we have some space.
So the three-season porch on the back, we changed the plan and we resubmitted to zoning to keep it
10 feet out.
at the 10 feet that's required by zoning, so that no longer is an existing encroachment. The house is already encroaches on that side, but we're bringing the porch in on the back to 10 feet. So it won't line up with the house, it'll come in, but it meets the zoning in the back. The porch in the front, we wanted to keep it in line with the house, so it comes 8 feet out, but it gives us 20 feet off the road, so we're fine with that, but it's the 2 feet on the left-hand side of the house. Instead of coming in at 10 feet off the neighbor's property line, it comes at 8 foot 1 inch off the neighbor's property line. So it's really the screen porch on the front.
And when I was out there today, you were explaining, keep it nice and square with the
Right.
house. That's your reason for the,
Right, to keep it in line with the house.
because you would be having a separate roof going, tying in to keep it.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's already an existing encroachment, so it just keeps it in line with that,
Correct.
yeah.
Thank you.
Now, okay.
You're extending, or you're expanding on a pre-existing nonconformity.
Yes.
Correct. On the front, the back.
On the front, the back is
does-
actually,
Yeah,
we're conforming to
the
the 10 feet.
guidelines, the zoning guidelines, yeah.
When you got the denial letter, you said, oh, wait a minute, we can fix that, and you moved the mark on the paper.
No, actually, we were speaking with a neighbor, and the neighbor said,
He's actually here,
yeah,
Rusty, yeah.
he'd like us to move
Keep
it
it at the
at the
10
10 feet, so.
So you did.
So we did,
So we did.
so we
We'll
did,
get to you, sir.
yeah. But the building inspector had told me to keep it at the original plan. He thought it looked good, but he had to deny it because it's an existing encroachment.
Yeah.
So he told us he would give the denial letter so that we could come in for the special permit.
Right.
But then when we talked to Rusty, he asked us to keep it at the 10, so we went back and changed the plans. So,
Good thing there was a big eraser on that pencil, huh?
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
well, luckily, my son designed the plan. He's a designer, home designer, so.
Yeah. Troy, what do you think?
I don't have any questions right now.
Veronica?
No questions.
I butted
Now,
in and gave my
Jimmy.
questions, so we're good with me.
Rich?
Oh, I'm fine with the way it's presented.
Jake?
I'm okay with this job.
The only thing, they need a 2% variance on a FAR.
2%. Geez, we've
I don't
granted some
see a problem.
14s and 15s and 20s.
Right, so I don't see a
2% seems pretty
person, I don't see a
reasonable to me.
problem. Anyone on the public want to speak in favor of this project? Anyone want to speak against? I just want to... You want to come forward? Yeah, thank you. Please have a seat, state your name and address for the record, and
Wayne Shade, 91.
you gotta sit down on the mic, sir.
Oh, yeah?
That's it.
Name and address for the record at the mic.
Can't see it.
Give me a name.
All right, where are we?
So,
Sir,
right
sir, excuse me. Excuse me.
You're
First of all,
addressing us.
name and address for the record.
Wayne Shea,
Yep.
91 Shore Ave.
Okay. All right, please hand them the plans, look at it. You gotta discuss with us, not with them.
Okay.
So look at the plans, tell us what you see, what you like, what you don't.
Here's the 10 feet, Wayne, right here.
Ma'am,
See that?
you can't explain to him.
Oh, okay, don't explain that.
Oh, I see, yeah,
If he has a question, he'll direct it to us, we'll
Okay,
ask you.
gotcha.
That's the formality of it, so.
Good.
Because it's got to get transcribed into
Yeah,
minutes.
it's in code, like what we talked about, yeah. I mean, yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Has it?
See, there's another guy who yell at you if you don't use the mic.
A lot of rules when you're here. Good
That's why I didn't bring
That's
the
the mighty Oz back there, and the flames will come up if you don't use the microphone.
Can you hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
Looks beautiful. I mean, it looks beautiful.
Me or the clerk? You good?
Yeah.
All right, very well. Anyone else? I hear none. Anything else would you like to add?
No.
Okay, what's the wishes?
So do we need to decide if this is going to be a special permit or a variance first?
It's a special permit.
It definitely is a special permit, we don't need to vote on that.
And a variance on FAR,
What are we varying? I thought they,
32 to 30.
The FAR.
30 to 32?
FAR,
oh, the FAR, yep, thank you, okay. I make a motion to close the public portion of this hearing.
do you have a second on that?
I'll second.
Second by Veronica, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain. Just for discussion, if they're not, I think the commissioner letter is after the fact, when they fixed the setback. Did you fix the setback after the commissioner give the letter?
He actually sent a new letter out.
We don't have it.
You don't, I have it.
We got it
Can I
dated,
have
we
it?
got dated September 14.
Do you have a
That's the
new
letter
one?
you have? Yeah, that's the one I have.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, according to him,
Provide-
you need, he's saying
The
setback,
lawfully non-conforming. We gave him the new plans.
but you meet setbacks.
You mean the setback for the room off the back?
They only meet the setback on one side, not on all,
On the
because
front.
they're extending a
Where is that? Meets it in the back here, and meets it here. Where it doesn't.
Your proposed side setbacks with the addition.
Oh, the setback, they're increasing the encroachment. That's what it is.
No, they within
The front
the
porch,
setback.
if the
No.
front's not.
Yes,
front's
no,
not.
20.2.
Front, huh?
20.2 is 20 feet setback over there. They have 20.2.
On the side, no?
Side?
Side 10 feet, they
Was
have
8.
10 feet.
I thought you had 8.1, is that right, or is that the back?
On the front, it's 8.1 on the left of the house.
Right.
Right.
Which is what you're continuing, right?
See, they're continuing that right there.
Oh, the left side.
The left side of the house, looking at the house on the left,
Okay,
right?
okay. So you add in that little bit.
Yes.
Okay, I get you, so that, he's right.
Other than
Wow.
that, the porch meets
He's
zoning.
pretty good, I was just wondering.
That's okay.
We just want to make it perfectly
All right.
clear.
That's
So,
okay, no problem.
First of all, let's act on the variance for the FAR. How's the board feel?
I'm making a motion to grant the 2% increase.
I'll second that.
Second by Jake for the FAR. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose?
Aye.
You oppose? Abstain?
No, you just said opposed very quickly, sorry. Or I was slow on my eye.
All right, so the variance passes 500. Now, on the setback, the dimensional bylaw, so does a board feel should be a special permit or a variance?
Special permit.
Okay, do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
So we have a motion to act on this as a special permit. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain, so that's a special permit. Now the wishes.
I make a motion to grant the plan as presented and dated, sorry,
9/7/2022.
9/7/22. And who's it drawn by? Do you have it right there?
9/7/22 for the architect and for the civil engineer and Bruce Wilson, and that's dated 8/21/2022.
So that's my motion.
So that's the motion. Do I have a second on
With
that?
standard conditions.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain. You good? Good to go. Is that paper to sign, or we have to go to the office? She didn't sign.
She's gonna, we're gonna type them all up nice and neat before we sign them. So she's gonna listen to our decision, type it, and then we're gonna sign it at the next meeting.
Okay.
We ran out of time because, if we were close to the end, either you or I could sign it to get it recorded with the clerk, but in this instance, 2 weeks from now, it'll come
We
back.
aren't looking to start this till the spring anyway, so,
Very
We'll
well.
get it signed
plenty of
before,
time.
we'll get it signed before July.
okay, thank you.
Before beach weather again.
That's a great time.
All right, very well. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, now we're going 29-22, Josh Olin, we're gonna, I guess, get an extension. He's asking,
Yeah, you can keep it. I got plenty.
So what we got going on here is at a previous meeting,
you guys done? All right,
at a previous meeting, we extended till the 23rd, the night before Thanksgiving.
right.
Town hall's closed that day because they are so privileged that if a holiday falls on their day off, they take another day off. I'm saying that for Sonia's benefit exclusively. And so therefore, we've scheduled a meeting on a night that there's no town business being done. If we don't get this extended, both for our decision and to another night, it's gonna expire. The attorney representing the applicant is aware of this. He's going to prepare letters requesting extensions. All they're looking for us to do tonight is vote to extend, and it'll be all approved on both sides. So we're not
Yeah, but we don't have,
painting ourselves in a corner.
we don't have a letter from them to extend.
It's going to happen, it's going to happen, you or I are going to go up and sign it, because Bob only found out that he had to write it today. Bob Perry.
Okay, if we give the extension and he doesn't write it,
Then there's no extension.
Well, can we base the extension on the,
Forthcoming letter.
yeah.
yeah, that's what we do. Let's make it a motion, Veronica.
I'll make a motion to approve the extension to December,
To November 23rd.
no, the following, which is,
December,
It's November
first meeting
30th,
in
isn't
December.
it?
Oh, they changed, oh, but it says here 11,
November, huh?
I thought it
it
was,
says here 11/23rd.
That's the day the town hall's closed.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're extending. Right now, we're due to meet on the 23rd, according to this, and nobody's gonna be here.
Okay, so we
Did I-
want to go to
We're just
14th?
did I read the 30th? Wasn't there something about the, moving the meeting to the
The
30th?
next week, yes.
But that's the last day of November, right?
Is that a Wednesday?
that's when we
It's a
approved?
Wednesday.
That's the one we're moving it to, then.
Yeah.
Right,
so
we
it's the-
agreed.
It's the 30th, I thought that I read.
Good job.
Okay,
Thank
so-
you.
Oh, so we have a meeting on the 30th.
We're moving the 23rd to the 30th.
That's what I
Gotcha.
thought I read in the letter.
We're rewriting the calendar just for
All right,
this.
Veronica, make your motion on
So moved to,
29-22, Josh D. Olim.
yes, moved to the 30th with the provision that we will receive a letter granting that the extension will be to that date.
Okay, do I have
For
a
a
second
decision.
on Veronica's motion?
I second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain, so 500, it carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Yes, Ken.
you also want an extension on the time for the decision on the permit as well.
Yes. Attorney
Okay.
Perry's
Is that what
gonna
we were
include that.
deciding on? Isn't that what we just said, Ken?
No, you extended it to the hearing date, but you have to extend the permit, the time for the permit as well, too, which has got to be beyond the hearing date, so you can file it afterwards.
Okay, so
Add a motion. Modify your motion.
I will, yeah, so I'll modify that motion to extend to, how many days, Ken, do we need to get everything squared away?
You just have a day after the meeting, after the hearing date, and that's fine. We can file with the town clerk then.
Okay, so for a week.
You wanna bring it out to December
We need something
14th?
filed with the clerk's office, that the
Till December 14th.
decision deadline will be December 14th.
Very well. Is that good, Ken?
That's great.
All right, do I have a second, Veronica's motion?
I'll second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain. Okay, so that's
Done.
done. Okay, we need, sir? You here for?
That's Mr. Motto. He's applying to be associate member.
Okay, all right, so, you want to come forward?
He's been up with us, but, yeah, but you weren't here, that's right, too.
Name and address for the record?
Russell Amato, 30 12th Street, Wareham.
And so you're interested to be associate member?
Yes.
Okay, and you said you were on the planning board?
Yes.
What make you shift?
I moved out of town for a year. I sold my house, moved, and, you know, just want to be involved. And I thought this was pretty interesting when I spent time here.
So who do you like better?
He spent time,
Planning or
did
zoning?
time.
Planning board or zoning board?
He did time in front of this
Now,
board.
when, you were here before for a case for yourself?
Yeah.
This has anything to do with that, the decision you got? Did this
No.
impact your decision on being on the board because the board decision?
Not because of the board decision, but it was lively, and I enjoyed it. So, when I was in school, in law school, I took this class, ZBA board. We had to do a mock presentation and everything in front of the professors, and I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a builder, I'm in the industry, and I want to be involved in it, and I want to contribute to the community this way.
And you think you could commit? You could commit to give your time?
Yeah.
All right, board members, would like to ask questions, go ahead.
We already met.
We shot at him last week.
Yeah, well, I want to know who do you like better?
I
Zoning or
think, I would
planning?
not answer that question. I wouldn't answer that question if I were me.
When she asked, who do you like best?
Yeah.
Was she doing this? Wow.
I'm kidding, I don't have any questions.
Okay. See, I'm not the only one here with a sick sense of humor.
I plead the fifth on that.
Yeah, well, a fifth would make it easier.
All right, so, board's the wishes.
Do you wanna-
Are you in favor of Mr. Morrow?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, oppose, and I abstain, so it carries. So hopefully selectmen will take it in consideration.
Okay.
The selectmen always ask us for a recommendation, so now we can officially say that you've come and we've seen you and you've been to, how many meetings now, 3?
2.
2?
Yeah.
Well, keep coming.
Okay.
All right, very well.
Troy came for, I don't know,
We'll wait
couple of months.
for what the selectmen would decide. Okay,
Very good.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May kick the ball back to us again, you may see.
Yeah, they sure do.
All right,
Do I have anything else that needs to go in here? Yeah, there's one. That's Beach Street, right?
Yeah.
Anything else on
anything
Beach
else you
Street?
guys like to add before we adjourn?
Try to keep Sonia happy.
I know Jake's tired.
Did anybody, like, glance at these deadlines, other than that first?
No, we have this Veronica woman that takes care of that for us.
These right here, you could see them always here.
You can't see it tonight, Jim. No.
Charlie, you
And-
here for something, or you good?
No, I'm.
He was here for Damien.
So, with the first agenda that we went through,
Oh, yeah, we had one that we tabled, because,
we tabled, right?
Duh.
good
Good
job,
catch,
Richard.
Rich. Should
Is
be
that
the
Jake or
chair.
Richard? Who
Jacob.
noticed? Huh?
No, Richard.
This is Jacob, both of us. How about it? We're a team. We're a good
Jake's
team.
shy, so he whispered to Richard, and Richard,
Nothing gets by you guys anyways, anyway. Has it ever?
All right, so going back to Dos Amigos,
Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
are you here for that?
I'm here to listen.
Okay, where is she?
I don't know if she didn't know, or, I have no
Well,
It's been
outside...
quite a
inside-
failure of them showing up.
yes,
I mean,
and
they've been on many meetings that we haven't even been able to talk to them, so
That's Latch Street, correct?
that's correct.
and
and I
that
remember
decision
the first-
deadline, we talked about this the last meeting, didn't we?
Yep.
The
And it's still
deadline was
on there now. It says
29.
it's already passed it, so,
No, the 29 is oh, in November.
October.
yeah. It's already gone by. That's what our concern was at the end of the last meeting, and I believe
Did
we
she
didn't
give
get
you an
any.
extension last time she was here?
that nobody
No one
showed up. Nobody has showed up
But
since the
this
first
has
meeting.
been-
We had one
First
meeting,
meeting, they were here.
there
and
was
then-
a few
and then they've
neighbors
been
that
on there.
spoke. Some people didn't like the way the town was maintaining the road. Another guy couldn't turn his boat because of a bush in the way. And,
So
But for
October,
lack of having a representative,
all right,
can
October,
we just have them fill out again, I mean, what
We could
course do we
deny
have?
without prejudice. If we deny with prejudice, they can't come back for 2 years. If we deny without prejudice, they can re-advertise and come on back.
Well, they haven't been coming, so I
Let's go-
believe that
let's
that's the
go
way
back.
we should go.
All right.
That's my motion.
Right. But they have an attorney, she knows what she's doing. Let's go back a little bit. Last meeting, when was it? I wasn't here. That was October.
That was the 28th, right? Wasn't it, or the 27th,
26th.
something like that?
Well, it was a panic because the Thursday,
26th, yeah.
that was
26th.
Thursday. Thursday was their last day before Friday, they were gonna be out, and then the ball would be rolling.
Okay. October 26th, they were here,
They
and
were
they didn't
not
show
here.
up.
They didn't
And
show
what'd you guys do?
We continued them till tonight.
And you continue without an extension from them? Did they-
No, I don't think we did
We were
without an extension.
waiting for command from the hierarchy.
Was that a mistake on our part, then, in other words?
Well, I
So
get,
if they're playing a game,
well, we could deny it without prejudice.
Well, let's back up.
It's-
Is it too late now? Because we're past the date.
Right. So this is, let
Is
them,
it an expired application, basically?
nope, it's called constructive grant. Let them deal with it. Well, what's your wishes today?
Is it too late to vote tonight?
Kinda it is, but you
Past
could
the
do whatever you
time has
want.
expired?
so
Then let the chips fall where they may, I say.
and I would say that at the end of every meeting, this should be something that we're looking at as the deadline. That should be a
Well,
part of
it
our
is here,
agenda.
like, these are here,
Yeah, but we don't review it every meeting.
well, it should. I don't know what, like Jim said, I think we leave it, let the chips fall. Because if we take a vote tonight, we're acknowledging, and we know we're wrong, we're just adding gas to the fire.
Yeah, so at this point, let's just wait and see,
We see what happens.
yeah.
Unless, if you, I don't know what you guys wishes, if you, let's see, what you wish, Rich? Make a vote? What you wish?
My motion would be to do it without prejudice, so they could come back
Throw a
for the
motion.
2-year.
Throw a motion.
I make a motion to
Deny without
deny
prejudice.
without prejudice.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
I'm okay with that, aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
I abstain as well.
So three will get it to pass.
Right, it's passed.
What, so, can I,
Only needs simple majority.
I believe the first meeting that they were here, you accused Mr. Chairman, you
Oh, yeah, that's
accused
right.
yourself.
I'm sorry.
you
So I can't
You
vote.
can't be voting on
Yeah,
it, so
actually,
I
I'm sorry,
believe Mr.
you're absolutely
Lawson
right.
would be on that.
Anyway, I abstained. What do you like?
Yep, I'm fine with it.
So it carries anyway, only needs simple majority. So it is denied without prejudice. So let's see what it takes us.
So,
Good cat, do you want to be the chairman?
good job.
Let's make a motion.
Just try to help out here, man, you know?
No, we're all on the same board, that's right.
My brain
So-
is fried. I've been sick for a
So
week.
my question, so that we don't walk away from this without either learning or improving, if they want to, if they're like afraid, maybe afraid is the wrong word, if they're concerned that the board would deny them with a new application, at this point, they do have the option to say, we're looking for a constructive,
I don't know.
they have that,
I can't speak for them.
Well, if we don't make a decision within a certain amount of time, they're granted automatic.
That shouldn't happen, so how do we stop that?
So we make a decision before the time it goes up.
Right, that's one of the reasons why we were
that's what
saying
she's
maybe
trying
we
to-
shouldn't make the decision now, because it may force them to go for the constructive grant, because they have to start over, as opposed to, basically, they already can go for that. But if we don't make that decision, maybe they'll come back before us if it's simple for them to do.
Okay.
But it's,
I'd like to give them a shot, but at the same time, they haven't shown
Just
up.
haven't
Right.
been
So-
here.
In-
So I don't know how we can be at fault if they just never show up. It should be,
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
we
I
can't,
know,
we
we
can't go
should-
to their house and drag them here and put them in the seat. I mean, come on. I
And
mean,
that would be town council's argument if they take it, if they challenged.
because they've
Would have
been
somebody who have
on,
to
they've
challenge
been
it.
on.
I would think that would be, I
They've
don't
been
know.
on 4 agendas that they haven't showed up for.
And
we keep
actually,
continuing
I
it.
have a
Keep-
question, because the last time we met, the reason I didn't go to say, to deny their application is they weren't on our agenda. How can we deny it when they're not
If they, yeah.
here? They're not supposed to be here for that night.
Quite a conundrum, so I'm hoping it'll,
Let's hope that
Pan out.
all this conversation is recorded and our secretary will be in contact with the attorney and they'll all come up with what everybody's wishes are and we'll find out.
Hey, Ken, can I ask you that
Yes.
question? So how do we handle that? Are we able to do, so the last time that we met, we knew that this deadline was coming and was going to expire, but they weren't on the agenda. Are we still able to make a decision on that if they're not on our agenda as a board?
Not if it's not on the agenda. I think what you should do is to extend the hearing to the next the next meeting date, and ask them to appear again, and tell them that the decision will be made to deny without prejudice if they don't show up at the next meeting, and warn them of that case so that they're aware of it, and proceed on that basis.
because I have back on October 6th our agenda that they requested a continuance.
Correct.
Yes. I think several times they've requested it.
So how is, I don't understand, it shouldn't be,
It shouldn't be our fault. I understand your point, and I think that's what Ken's saying.
Okay.
But Ken, you understand the concern that the dates have passed.
I do, and if they are, if they want to continue to play ball in town, they'll probably want to make it work out for everybody as well, too. I think what we do is we try to play to their better side and see if we can get an agreement to continue the process of the permit review.
I kind of agree with that.
yeah, well, again, we can't go to their house, knock on the door and drag them here.
No, but we can send them, we can, we can
We can
give,
be nice and do it the best
we
we
can
can.
be real nice and give them one more chance if everybody else will. But we'd have to undo our vote that we just voted to deny without prejudice, right? We'd have to bring it back, try to keep it live, instruct the secretary to invite them to the next meeting, and then if they come, they come. If they don't, the same result.
So then, I would,
You warn them that they're going to be denied without prejudice if they don't show up at the next meeting.
Are you following all this, Naz?
I am, but
he can't be in a part of it, so.
I could, oh, here she comes.
Ta-da! See, usually we get done later, so you thought you had more time.
I did.
We were just trying to figure out how to roast you, you know?
I'm sorry.
We were just trying to figure out what's the worst thing we could do, and now we're gonna have to be nice.
Well, I'm glad we're long-winded, or we would have been long gone.
That's a good point.
Come on up, you're
Did you
on.
close?
I'm gonna recuse myself, but before you do anything, if you wanna discuss it, you gotta rescind your vote.
Yeah,
Make a motion to
yeah,
rescind it so
yeah.
you can discuss.
I make a motion to rescind my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So it's been made and seconded to rescind the prior vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Jillian, that was you. We had voted to run you out of town on a rail. We were, the tar was on the burner. It was,
Oh, I believe it was a nice train
near
station.
boiling point. The feathers were all, the pillows were all cut open, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I appreciate it.
thank you for coming. Thank you, and we're glad you're here. It makes everything that the last 5 minutes was talking about moot.
You were the first on our agenda tonight.
Yeah. I thought I'd reached out to Sonia to say I had a
It's okay.
scheduling thing. Okay.
So I'll pull your folder out too while if you want to start talking while I'm passing this out.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Chair, if I may,
Yeah,
I'm gonna recuse myself, and because it's the end of the night and you guys could close.
So you wanna, you wanna leave?
Yes, if you guys don't mind.
I don't have a problem, we can
That's
close.
the last one.
You're recused.
Thank you, sir.
I thought I was gonna get a jacket out of it, too.
Thank you, you guys have a good night.
All right, good night.
Thanks.
You have a good night as well. Attorney Morton, go ahead.
Great, thank you. So if you recall, we had a meeting probably in September, I believe, or the end of September, or the beginning of October on this matter. This is regarding 12 Larch Street. And this property, if you want to pull up the plan, should have in your packets, is a property that's on a corner of Larch and Hemlock Street. It has frontage on both sides of the parcel. We received a denial letter from the commissioner saying that there was a merger. So in the first meeting, we were kind of discussing that. You're getting the lay of the land of which lots he had said merged. And then I believe, I don't know if people were able to go over and check out the site, but there was some discussion there. So I went back through the titles to the property, trying to show a little bit better of a flow of what the deeds were and what happened. One of the things I uncovered looking at the property was that there actually is a betterment that is recorded against this property. So we had spoken about how do they have sewer on that property? And I didn't end up making copies of that, but I can kind of pass it around. It's recorded with the Registry of Deeds in the property that has the betterment on it. It's 12 Larch. So that's kind of when they did put sewer over in that area, it looks like then they had a betterment that was created. So I have that. The betterment on the property is about $15,000 for the betterment there. So led me again to look at this piece of land and see that it was intended to be able to be a lot. I don't know why the town necessarily would have had it, put a sewer in there and made it a separate piece if that wasn't the intention. Last time, there were some butters here. And so I went down to the site, took a look at the plans as well to see in regards to that street. I know there was concerns regarding a boat being able to get into that tight space right there, okay? And on the plans you have, I don't know if they really laid out where the, like where the parking would be on there, but I would imagine that most of the vehicles or where they would be able to go in could be on Larch Street. So that could kind of help with the abutters' concerns regarding the Hemlock Street and how tight it is over there and if it floods and whatnot. So that was one of the points I wanted to bring up to the board in regards to the abutters' concerns. So likely it would be on the left side of the property would be where that parking would be for the vehicles. So the Hemlock wouldn't be used because you can see the front of the house as well, is facing Larch as well. So we are in need of a variance, meeting the requirements on this parcel and are ordering to break merger. In order to do that, we have to have a uniqueness on the lot. We have to have a hardship to the petitioner. I think I mentioned before that this property is under contract with two parties. The lot and the actual deeds, if you've gone through the petition, it was 26 Kingwood and then 12 Larch. So that was on a combined deed, and 26 Kingwood is actually across the street. So it's pretty interesting that those were on the same lot. 26 Kingwood has been sold, and now this is the remaining, it's a lot. The other one was a single-family home.
So it's Kingwood.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking at the,
I'm looking at the assessors map and
Yep.
I'm just trying to figure out how there could even be any, unless it was that, is it the one on the corner of Larch and Hemlock? And it also goes up to Kingwood?
so,
I see the dotted lines and all that.
yeah, if you look,
Does
they're
this,
both circled. I was looking at this one's a little bit
see
easier.
if you can, could you, yeah, I hate to make you come up here, but So
our lot is right, this is 12 Larch, and this was 26 Kingwood, so there was there's a road. So
let
on
me
yours,
put
it
this,
would
let
be-
me
yeah,
put it this way.
Yep.
So what,
Right here. That's, that was 26 Kingwood.
oh, so this and this were, they were on two, I see now, okay. Now I get it, thank you.
So the single-family house.
Because they wrote it down the street, I was looking down the street.
Oh, okay. So 26 Kingwood has
I
been
get it
sold.
now, yep.
The sellers, the owners of this property currently have that vacant lot, and then obviously the petitioners, Dos Amigos, are looking to purchase it. So that's what we have in front of us tonight. I don't know if there were new concerns or sort of
So
the
I-
same
So
feelings.
I got questions,
Sure.
just so that I can get it more, when, and obviously I had some of it turned around. When I looked at it prior, or when you came back the first night, and I'm going by my memory, the piece down on the waterfront, it would
Yes.
be lot 514 if you've got the assessors map in front of you. The house, they've got a combined,
Yep, the owners, I think it's 5 Hemlock is
That's
their address.
yeah, they're the ones that had the boat that they said they had,
Correct.
you know, they
Correct.
couldn't get down the street, and
Yeah.
that's really because the street's not trimmed back, if you look at the size of the
Yeah,
street.
it's a valid
But
concern.
anyway,
Yeah.
so I thought that this once was part of that lot.
Yes, so it was. There's a piece that, it's not shown on these maps, so it's on,
So all the way up from the marsh, past the lot in question, and all the way up to Kingwood at one time was all one piece? Is that,
it kind of checkerboarded, to be honest. There were, as you can see on this original plan, it was just small lots. So there was a conveyance that happened on 514 to the abutter in an estate sale. So it was not like a clean title, like they didn't own all of that. There wasn't a party that owned all of it. They had,
514 went over to become part of 515,
right,
or part of that did, and I see the dotted line, so that's all one now.
yeah.
And then, I didn't look up 508 and 509, I've been looking up the different,
Yeah,
Okay.
this might be helpful to you. This is how the town has it as well. So by the week, it's 26 Kingwood, and in Larch, so there's that document.
yeah.
That's from the betterment.
These two are one, yeah, they've always been one, okay. All right. So Diane Phillips, yep. Phillips is over here. Dose. And, DCS, no, Dose. Is it DOS or DCS?
Dos Amigos, and then DCS is the owner currently.
Okay, I see it now.
So what's happened as far as the hardship goes, I want to differentiate this from a situation where the property, we know it's like a one size, it's it's undersized, that's the variance there as far as merger, but it has the frontage, it has the other requirements under the zoning. So the proposed, if you look at your map, you can see the lot size versus what's then proposed. So minimum amount of frontage, 150, we have 180, you know. The front side setbacks, those are in line as well. Max building coverage, 25%, we've provided 19.5%. So, but for that lot size, that's where we're obviously falling short, which there's nothing I could do about that, the 30,000 versus the 84.
Anybody here have any questions? Instead of picking somebody,
I don't have any questions, but I'm trying to recall, we had discussion about this, and I thought that we had talked about it was being clear when this had passed hands that it was a non-buildable piece of property.
That was my recollection of it too, before we,
The assessment is, what, $9,500? I know that, Jillian, you said that there's a betterment on it, but
Yeah, for 15,000.
has that been paid?
just, and I would just say,
So,
there have been lots in the town from time to time that have taxes assessed based on being buildable, and they're not, so
has there been-
unfortunately, that's...
Sorry to interrupt. Has there been lots that have betterments on them that,
I'm sure, well, I mean,
Yeah, I actually had to go to a case for some people that were charged for a whole bunch of lots for water over in West Wareham, and that got challenged in court, and then that got,
and it was vacant land?
it was vacant land, it was undeveloped
built.
land, and they said, well, if we divide the number of square feet by the number of square feet per lot, you could have, I think it was 6 or 7 lots here, but they were all underwater.
Okay.
And anyway, so the property owner ended up hiring an attorney and taking it to court and saying, how can you charge us a betterment on land that we can't build on? And I believe they prevailed.
Okay.
But where I've come, and I've been on both sides of this fence. My personal recollection of the first meeting was that indeed, this was a portion of a lot. This lot got shaved off of a larger lot that would have been more conforming, nonetheless, 2 or 3 owners ago. At that time, it was, I wouldn't call it a fraudulent conveyance, but I think they sold off a piece of their land, and it's gone through a couple of owners now. And when they did that, if an attorney, or if somebody wanted to spend the money on attorneys in time, I think they could trace it back and say, when they sold us that, it should have all been included. How that would end up in court, I don't have a clue, but my recollection of this is at one point, this was all under one ownership, and it was more conforming. It still wasn't conforming to zoning. So at the time they did that, they kind of, and now it's been muddied by 2 or 3 ownerships. But then I continue to look at this, and I look at every lot in the neighborhood, and when the neighborhood was developed, they were half the size of what you're proposing to build on.
Right.
Or your client's proposing to build on. And when I look at the neighborhood right now, lots have been combined, and they've been combined to the point where they come to about the same size as the lot you're presenting. So it's kind of in keeping with the neighborhood. You know, I don't know, I mean, if somebody could challenge our decision, so that's got me vacillating, you know, kind of, like I said, I've been on this fence, I've been teeter-tottering. Part of me says it shouldn't be, because it was kind of like, you know, I don't want to call it funny business, but I think when they sold it off and they created this nonconformity, I think they knew what they were doing, but 3 owners later, they possibly don't. But now there's a $15,000 riser for septic. I would just, you know, it's almost like tossing a coin. Heads, you can build on it, tails, you can't. I mean, it's that challengeable, if you follow what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't see a bunch of neighbors over here saying, we don't want it.
This is also, what meeting is this? So
They
how many
were here
times?
the
Yeah,
first
they
meeting.
might, well, you might have warned them out, I don't know. Yeah.
Can we ask about the public?
We can, I see a lady sitting in the back that wanted to listen. If you guys want to hear from her,
Absolutely.
let's bring her up.
And, yeah, and in my recollection, I thought there were several neighbors that came to the first meeting.
There was a couple.
So,
Do it
I'm
too.
thinking that the betterment was put there before they nipped it off,
No.
and then,
You thinking that,
go ahead.
So are you
Okay.
speaking in opposition or for the project?
Name and address.
Opposition, actually. Jennifer Lovall, 5 Hemlock Street in Wareham.
Actually,
5 Hemlock, so you're the, you...
I live there year-round.
You're the ones that are down on the marsh.
On the water.
You got your
Yes, yes. Okay.
quote-unquote waterfront property.
Right, right.
Your marshfront property that leads to water.
That's right. Yes.
Maybe with an airboat, you could have, with a
We can
Everglades
enjoy it
boat.
at high tide.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Anyway, so part of this, the property, the betterment was done about, let's see, I've been in my house 7 years, and so it was done a few years before that, because I had to finish paying the betterment off when I bought the property on my property. So when that betterment was put on that non-buildable property, they already owned it. The people that are trying to sell it right now already owned it at that point. So it's just, the reason there's nobody else here is because every house around me is either a rental, or it's a summer, or they rent it weekly. There's only one person that's right to the, I guess, to the left if you're at the water, or to the right if you're facing that property standing on Larch. And she's actually gone, and it's just her son there now.
That's Phillips?
That's, I don't even know their last name. But she came to the very first meeting when it was postponed, and then now she's out of town for the season also. She's an elderly lady that can't hear. So part of the reason nobody's here to complain is because nobody that's in any of the houses around even own any property. They're all rentals. And when we talked about the issue with our boat, we actually go around and come down Larch and go back up and back in, because when we try to back down the road, there's usually a drop of asphalt that stops. And the reason we have trouble getting out a lot of times is that neighbor, that son lives there year-round. They park a truck, so we can barely make the turn down a side road from Kingwood to Larch to get in.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. I want to ask you how this lot being built on would make your situation better or worse? How would it make it worse?
Well, the reason we were saying the issue with cars is that with these being rental properties, they have rentals there for the week that maybe 25 people. There's cars all along the roads in there during the summer, like they rent their houses out. So we just didn't want to see another house come in there that ends up being not really a year-round. Our neighbors change every week in one of the houses, and then
So
now
when
here
you
we're
talk
getting
about
another
rental
one.
properties, you're talking about seasonal summer rentals, weekly
There's
rentals. They're not,
And then some of them are
you don't have,
multifamilies.
you don't have
and-
consistent neighbors. It's,
Not at all. So, that's the reason we didn't want to see another house go in. That was another property. And then the other thing is we deal with we're right on the marsh, and you can't really put anything. So then if this does pass, then they'll have to go through environmental like I did to put a shed on. And I couldn't even put a shed on. Half of my property is non-touchable, so, and that's half of their fence line too. That's within the marsh, 50 feet of marsh, and they own 100 and some feet. And so to their water side, not on Hemlock side, but on the other side, it's marsh, so.
Yeah, the 100-foot goes right through the middle of the house on the plans.
I haven't even seen the plan, so. So that's our concern when we were saying there's not enough room whenever there's, it's a summer place, and everybody's down visiting. They have their family reunions and their college class reunions, and we just don't know if this is going to end up being the same thing. So that was our opposition to it. I mean, it's beautiful property, and I love being in the development, and it could be that we get somebody great as neighbors, but
that's why Mr. Simple wanted to bring you up and hear what you had to say and what your concerns were. Is that everything that you...
Yes, that was my concern.
Thank you for coming up, and thank you for sitting through everything else and listening and quietly waiting your turn.
All right, thanks.
So I have a question, and you guys are looking at the plan, and I'm trying to look at, how are we on the elevation? Is this in the flood zone?
Yep, if you
Is
look
this
at the
gonna have to
big
be a
plan,
stilt-built house?
you have a V zone on the corner of the lot. So the house will not be built.
It will
within the
not be
V
stilt?
zone. No, do you have the plan with the V zone? The
I
big one?
do.
Yep, so see that big red mark right there, or the corner of the property is in the V zone, but as far as the other elevations,
So
I think
so
it should
this
be
is in
fine.
the zone, this would have, if they were building here, they'd have to go on
Yeah,
stilt.
I mean, I completely understand conservation concerns, that's why, often I have to go in front of two boards, so,
So you
not
get
just-
past this board, you still
Oh,
haven't...
I'm still sitting in conservation on many others, so, I think the idea is that the,
You want to
that
be able to
gets
go to
vetted.
conservation and say, well, zoning says it's okay.
Yeah.
Just like Mummy, Daddy said it's okay.
I have one more question. So,
Go ahead.
okay, so the zoning, it's like my whole property.
You got it, ma'am, I don't
My
mean to...
whole property is that zoned, and my property's higher than any of this, so is that whole property zone flooding? Because,
Well, that's what we're asking right now.
Do you know what zone you are? If it's like
VE.
VE, so just on the plan, you can see, this is where we've marked the VE. I don't know, he doesn't have, our engineer doesn't have your on there, but that's where they've
so they're
marked.
not marking the whole thing?
Yeah, it's not marked the whole thing. But obviously an engineer would be able to clarify that,
Yeah,
but that's
okay.
what's on our property.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's,
Yep.
yeah, they
Yeah.
redid it a few years ago, and,
I can see that parts of your property, to answer your question, are 4 feet higher than this property.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up. So,
And just one more thing to answer her concern regarding the rentals and, living in town too, I see that as well. And I think it's something that we can't speculate on who the purchasers of the property are gonna be. These developers have built plenty of houses within Wareham, and Wareham residents are living in them full-time, so it's a toss, but it's an area that does attract a lot of Airbnbs or summer houses. But I don't think that's a reason to warrant a denial on a build.
I think
So-
that Wareham, for 100 years or more, certainly before I was around, was nothing but a summer community. I mean, when I came here, what was it, 50, 60 years ago, some time ago, the population doubled or tripled in the summertime, and as more of the people that came down here for the summer became permanent residents, they tried more and more, and this is my personal observation, they tried more and more and more to stop others from coming down for the summer. But that's just, I guess that's human nature, that it's okay, if I can get mine, nobody else can have any. But I'm really on the fence on this. There's legitimate concerns have been raised. You still have to go in front of conservation. I gotta tell you, frankly, I'd like to hear what conservation has to say before we make a decision. I'd like to have the applicant agree to extend until you get through conservation. Because if you go to conservation, they say,
What if,
and
I hear what you're
conservation's
saying.
gonna say, well, we don't wanna make a decision till zoning makes a decision, and then we can leave you in
No, I mean, I
purgatory
think-
until you retire.
I think that if it's a favorable decision dependent upon, your decisions are in essence separate than conservation, so,
I know they're separate, but again, I go back to, Daddy, Mummy said it's okay with her if it's okay with you. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but
I can tell
You'd
you, I
have-
have
you'd have-
17
you'd-
Murphy that
you'd have-
you approved, I want to say 9 months ago, and I'm still in conservation about it, another
Yeah,
property,
yeah. You
so,
understand, I mean, I know, if I was representing your client and I were you, I would certainly want to go to conservation and say, we've been to zoning and it's okay with them. I get it, and so I'm not trying to make it harder for you. I'm just, I'm thinking my brain and my mouth are not in sync. Anybody else on the board got any thoughts that they want to add or subtract, or?
I have, as well with you, I'm torn. It's
Yeah.
just like, I can't, I can't faithfully make a decision yea or nay on this at all, right now.
I can count the 10,000 square foot lots in the neighborhood. I mean, they're all, you know, this is gonna be bigger than some and as big as all the others. So from that point of view,
That's not how we,
well,
Average
that,
around us was .2 acres, and we're .18 acres. That was in the, I did kind of a cursory, the immediate
yeah.
12 lots around us, just to kind of
I
have
think
people
it's,
look at it.
I think it's, you know, I looked up, it's appraised for 9,500, and then the two lots abutting it of similar size, the land alone is appraised for 9,500, because that's all you are is land. But the land alone on the two abutting of the same size, one's assessed and appraised at 148,600, and the other one's assessed and appraised at 123,400, and so there's a septic riser that has betterment that hasn't been paid. You know? That's, you know, no offense, that's not driving any nails in my coffin. You know, so, you know, again, if it was up to me to make a motion, which I probably won't, my motion would be to continue with applicant's agreement until it gets through conservation. That would be my, I don't know what the rest, I don't know, if somebody wants to make a different or a similar motion. I always hate to be the motion maker when I get stuck in the chair.
I'd like to, maybe somebody on the board can give me some clarification, because as I remember when this first came before us, it seemed a little bit more clear in terms of...
Who did what?
Yes, and the fact that once it was sold, it was not a buildable lot because of the change in zoning that happened well before these transfers. So, you know, I just feel like it's not that, I don't know, I just feel like that it's been known, and somebody did do something at one point to try and move it forward, but I don't know, I'm not...
You're not warm and fuzzy either.
Not warm and fuzzy, no.
Is it the idea that, you know, they've owned the lot, it's not been taxed as buildable, now you don't necessarily want to open up a floodgate to have other people who have been in that situation?
that's pretty much,
Well, I feel like
That's
they
one of
know it
them.
wasn't buildable.
That amongst other concerns,
It wasn't
yeah.
buildable. I feel like they know it wasn't buildable, they've known. And if we make it buildable now, I don't really see a hardship on the lot. It's well under what the current requirement is, and I don't know. And we all know the area. I think, well, everybody drove down there, I think, on the last meeting I did, and it's pretty congested. It's dirt road, holes
know.
everywhere.
I know people that go around and
elevations
buy
are
lots
terrible.
like this that are assessed for 9,500, knowing it's not buildable, just hoping that someday the town needs a pumping station. You know?
Well, I mean, another thing that would be, is if it's been taxed as a lot for an accessory building, I mean, they're well within their right to build a 3-car garage there as long as it meets the other.
Don't you have to have a primary residence to build an accessory building?
Well, then why is it taxed as that? Right? So they're in a predicament with this property. And I think to leave it unbuildable, because of the reasons set before you, I mean, if you're asking us to go to conservation first, I'd have to talk to my client. And I also don't know how long that process is gonna go. It's been under agreement, the actual purchase and sale for a while now, so I'd have to talk to both parties. But if that would make you feel better to get some sort of guidance, or I don't know if you're looking for an order of conditions from them. I also don't know how.
I'm just looking, you know, conservation may just say, yeah, this is what you can build. You can build a 3-foot wide building, 17 feet long. And that's all you get. And then they might just say, you know what?
Yeah.
The hell with it, we'll wait for a pumping station. You know, or they may just say, maybe it's more valuable to the people that don't know how to turn their boat around, or maybe it's more valuable to the, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of your husband's ability to go drive backwards with a boat behind him.
You back.
You know, there's 2 abutters that would directly benefit from buying it, and it would be definitely, it should be worth more than $9,500. And then there's the people across the street, and You know, I would, if you combined it with across the street, anything that was close, and made it one lot, even though it's non-contiguous, would be a good place to have a garage. I wouldn't mind walking across the street to have my garage. So I don't think we're ruining the value of the property. I don't think we've increased it any. But I wait for somebody to make a motion. We gotta close the public portion, or?
Anybody else want to make any comments?
I'd need a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is that seconded?
Second.
Made by Mr. Semple and seconded by Mr. Morrison. Closed, all in favor of closing the public portion of this hearing? Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's closed. Now, what are your wishes?
Well, I guess my wishes would be, what we talked about, is to hold off on our decision until we get further information from the conservation. Because it seems like if we give the go-ahead, as was stated by Mr. Akalassi, you know, we don't want to get in the habit of opening the floodgates for everybody buying these little tiny lots that are not
I'll
buildable. And
second that motion.
Okay, so we got a motion to, continue this until we hear back from conservation and what orders of condition. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Just a question, Jim. Didn't you,
We closed
basically
the
by
hearing.
closing the hearing?
Yeah, you have to reopen
You can't take any further information. Doesn't matter whether it's from the commission
Oh,
or
that's
who
right,
it's from.
yeah.
Yeah,
can't
you
take
need
it.
to reopen it.
Well, then, let's reopen.
Make a motion to reopen the public portion of this hearing.
Is that seconded?
And I think before we, I'll second.
Okay, so let's reopen it. Let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we remain open, and now your motion to continue to gather more information will continue until we,
Make a motion to continue until we hear more verification from the Conservation Department.
And I think we should probably add to that, that we get a deadline extension from the
And
applicant.
a deadline extension from the applicant.
as part of that extension,
Can
absolutely.
you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Ooh, that's tough.
Verification from the Conservation Office or the Conservation Board?
Commission, the board, yeah.
Final decision? Is there a conservation agent yet?
We, yeah, we need their, I don't know if we need their final decision, but we need to know where they're going.
Okay.
I'd like to see the proposed order of conditions at minimum. Huh? What was it?
We should probably see the final decision before
Sure.
we make any decisions, I would think.
It just seems that it's too wide open. We're leaving it too wide open for,
So you want to see the final decision from conservation?
I also, I
Is that
guess.
part of your,
So, I mean, we,
we can make that.
no, I know, I know, personally for myself, I guess I want to look at the deeds again and see how the ownership transferred and what everybody, because I remember that, for me, it's regardless of what conservation says, because they don't determine what zoning says.
Our indecision
No,
may just,
but-
our indecision may send her back to her client, and her client may
Say
just
no.
say, I'm not going to spend tens of dollars on an attorney and an engineer.
So do we just say that,
Conservation a dozen times and find out that, and then it's still up in the air whether zoning is going to let us build or not. We could be into this lot for 100,000 and get denied, so they may just say, we quit, let's wait till the board changes. People die and people quit.
so will we just move to get them to continue?
We're going to continue until we hear
We need a
the final decision,
Date extension, right?
and they're going to, and it's subject to them granting continuances on our decision. If they're not going to grant continuances, then there's no continuance.
Well,
Do you understand what,
Yeah, I see where
we
everything's
want
going.
both,
It's-
we want everybody,
Yeah.
yeah.
if you're in agreement for the extension, I think that continuing it is,
We won't send you to hell, we'll let you live in purgatory, but we're
Yeah,
not
it's a
granting
tough thing,
heaven.
because there's no conditional approval, though, so I could go through all this and come back and then,
And then
decide
she
no.
could read the deed and
So that's
say,
a question for the
"Eh."
client, and I'll certainly, but I appreciate, I think
You
that
want to
that's a
come back
fair,
and let us know that decision? Then that's,
it might be a few months.
But you said, as long as everybody's in agreement that until
So do,
we're not in agreement, we're in extension.
I think I should send an extension until January.
Okay. You got the first meeting in, the second meeting in Jan?
Probably second.
with the holidays.
And
right?
maybe, it might be even longer, but I'd rather,
But you can
Two
give us a
more.
letter on this, before the second meeting, and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
continue to continue. Let's do that. I don't know what that date is, and we put the book, look at our calendars, and we can guess on the date. Let's put it on the night before Valentine's Day or something.
January 11th is the second,
11th was the second Wednesday, and then the 25th, right?
yeah, and then 25th is the 4th.
You think the 25th is the second meeting in January?
yeah,
Let's continue to then.
January 25th?
okay.
Yep, January 25. If this isn't convoluted enough for the people listening to our recording, we can make it more confusing.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know about that.
And if something changes before then,
Yeah, a letter to the,
withdraw or whatever happens.
if your client says, we're just not playing, we're done for a while, then we'll kill it, and then they can reapply, and sometimes new notices in the mail are cheaper than continuing to
So
pay.
we got to make a motion here?
I think we got one half stated.
Yeah.
Want to try it over?
I'm going to back out of the motion. Please let somebody else clarify for me and make
Go
a
ahead,
motion.
Veronica, you're the one that amended it, so.
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing based on the agreement of the applicant to file with the clerk's office for a deadline extension till,
January 25th?
actually after that,
We're
because that would be the
continuing to
date that they
January
sign it. So it would be
25th.
February,
Second week in
February.
February 14th, or
Second meeting.
Yeah.
whatever day that is. Okay, yes.
So that's all we gotta do is continue until the second meeting in January. We don't have to put
See you
any
next year
conditions
kind of
on it,
thing.
yeah.
So the
Yeah.
motion is continued, so for a continuance for this, to
And your people agree to continue.
be at the hearing on
Yes, I have
January
authority to
25th.
continue it. If it has to get withdrawn before that, I can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I will second,
You will second it? All in favor, say aye.
whatever that is, a motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Attorney Morton. Okay, so I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I think we've done everything that was on it. I think this was
you're
our
right.
last bit of business.
It says if we need to talk about anything? think
If
so.
anybody has anything on their mind, speak now, otherwise I need to hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Aye. Seconded, aye. We're adjourned.